So we are live tonight for another episode of The Gathering, and tonight's a great evening because we have our good friends from Paranormal Brew on. I want to apologize for the horrible echo that we're having. We were trying before we came on here to figure that out. We haven't been able to, so just bear with us and try to make it again. So guys, thank you for coming on together with us tonight. We're really excited to have you. So why don't you introduce yourselves and tell everybody about the brew.
Well, Karen's over there. And my name is Sabrina.
Anthony.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Hear us.
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, that's Karen, by the way.
That's Karen.
I don't know what caused the echo. We were trying to figure it out. We couldn't figure out what was causing it.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping I can try to do the best I can for your questions and do that. Did you say it after that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
She asked if you said anything after having them introduce themselves.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All right. So,
can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
And everybody, I apologize for technical difficulties. We have no idea how to fix it, or we would. Al, why don't you go ahead and lead off with the question?
Yeah, you have a total.
Well, we know about you. We know a little bit about you, Taryn. Tell us, Beth or Sabrina and Tony, how you guys, become, with Paranormal Brew. Because you obviously, you obviously wasn't with us when we went to Wildwood, so.
No, unfortunately, I missed that. I apologize. I'm trying to remember what happened at that time. But as far as knowing Karen and the Paranormal Brew, we go back about 7 years, maybe a little bit more. We were with another group and learned through this group, and we just became best friends. I mean, we were sister. And we've been doing a lot of investigations and doing different events and lectures throughout many years. And then we kind of drifted apart from that group and kind of went on our own way. Taryn started Paranormal Brew, and I would come on as a guest periodically, like about a year now. Me and Anthony came on with her. It's been like a really whirlwind of different groups and consultants. I was always so busy, and now I'm not so busy anymore.
Right.
So Tony, tell us about you.
I didn't move to New Jersey in 2013. I started my first paranormal group in Illinois. Obviously, it's Illinois in 1984. When I moved here, I met Sabrina Parday. She's a part-time bartender at this bar in LA. I remember her mentioning she's a paranormal investigator. Like, I'm a lead investigator for a long time. I just lived in New Jersey, so we stayed in contact. And she told me about having this one show recently. And I was like, oh yeah. I came on as a guest. That's it. Now I'm officially
Well, I was going to ask you also how you felt about being the only guy on the team with 3 other women.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know.
What did you make yourself into?
We're pretty diverse. We got 4 guys and 4 girls, so
Yeah. There has to be some balance. I had to do the diet will change a little bit.
Yeah.
We can put it in a big time, I guess.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out this echo thing. I tried to get the headphones without it. I tried to turn the audio settings, but I can't seem to fix it.
Well, it is what it is, right?
Hey,
So,
we always have technical difficulties.
Yeah, we
always.
always have technical difficulties too.
That's it. That's all you can do, right? All right. So I guess the next question would be for you guys. How did you get involved in the paranormal? And if you already have that, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
How did we get involved in paranormal?
Yeah, how did you start? What was your first experience, or how did you what kind of drew you to the paranormal? What was that moment that you said, hey, I'm interested in this?
Taryn, do you want to start?
All right, so I guess at first, when I was growing up, I did live in a haunted house. That seems to be everybody's spiel. However, I wanted no parts of it. I was scared to death. I would sleep with my light on, music on, went back to my room. I hated it. And as I got older, my mom drove me to Gettysburg, had my first experience there. And I was like, wow, that wasn't that bad. Didn't really get into it after my dad passed away. It was then I believed that like the connection just can't stop there. So there has to be something else, to keep that connection going. And then I read about Gary Golka, his story.
Right.
With his daughter? Yeah.
So after that, I went to a store that I'm not going to mention. And the owner there was in a group. Pretty big group in South Jersey. And he just said, listen, I have a group, you want to join my group? And for a year or two, I was like, and then I finally got in. I finally said yes. And if I didn't say yes, I never would have met Sabrina.
It's kind of crazy. I've always kind of felt like we get called to this world. I kind of feel like, you go through life and these moments happen that kind of pull you in. At least I know for me, that was my experience, because my story is a little different than some. I was a skeptic, hardcore skeptic, and never had an experience. And then it wasn't until my, I guess it would have been about 32 years old, and that was 2005. And I had that aha moment that led me to paranormal. And our story was much, a lot of moving parts came together for all the people we are. But for me, it was like a calling. I was pulled, I feel like, to the paranormal. So how about you guys?
I wonder if I take
me?
Yeah, you I know those.
I'm trying to focus on one.
I know.
Basically, when I was a little girl, I moved into a home and was visualizing things and talking to my grandmother when she passed away, and it just like flowed through my life when what is going on out there. People, my mom and my aunt think that I was crazy for talking the way I was about seeing this woman in this house. Had a couple of experiences, and I never took anything after that because I didn't want them to think I was crazy. And then when I got into teenage years, it was more or less so trying to find my spirituality, and I was always Catholic, but I was still trying to find answers. And I was always in cemeteries. I was always walking through cemeteries and doing that herb thing, reading a lot of books. And then I thought, I'll never be able to do a paranormal investigation. That's for scientists. And then all of the tasks came up. I'm like, wow, there are more people who do this. I thought it was only scientists and doctors thinking that you need to take PhD in order to do this. And I realized, hey, I can do this. I could get some equipment. I could get a camera and a recorder. And just started doing it. Like, oh my God. And then there was the group.
I agree with you, and I forgot that part out. You know, Taps came on TV. And I have to tell you, they honestly inspired me as well. You know what I mean? Like they still do, actually. So
We just had a comment that came through. That was one of the suggestions. I'm sorry, that's this one. Somebody said maybe it might the actual volume too loud on the, I can't find it. They're popping in quick.
so was
Yeah, because somebody's volume, like the computer volume is too loud, and that might be what we're hearing.
I can't hear it.
Can you not hear it? Somebody suggested maybe lowering like our actual computer volumes. That may be computer volume.
Oh, there you go. Right? It's not echoing anymore, I don't think.
Whatever you did, Matt.
Whatever you did, not
I
echoing.
didn't do anything.
Now you don't have
Just I wished it away. I said, "Go away, bad sound."
I did something.
That's weird.
It's fixed.
Can you hear us?
What'd you do, Al?
I went to the camera mic settings and went to audio and disabled audio processing.
Good job, Al. See, that's why Al's our case manager.
No.
Stuff like that right there. And that is it. Those are the moments that we go, you know what? Instead of damn it, Al, thank you, Al.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Now it's like we sound so much better. All of us.
Okay. So those of you that stayed with us, thank you for tolerating that because it was driving us crazy. I don't think any of us were we were trying to struggle through it, but I don't think anybody was really buying it. We were just trying. We were faking it till we made it. So I'm glad that happened. All right.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to listen to myself and answer myself at the same time.
You're asking me questions. I was like,
so at least that's fixed. So let's try this again. All right. So Tony, you were saying that for you, the Taps guys inspired you.
yeah, I mean, because I like I said, after my dad passed away, I was never really, I wasn't brought up in a religious household. So I didn't know much about, religion and this and that. I mean, my grandmother was Roman Catholic and, but, my mom didn't go to church. I didn't go to church, so after my dad passed, I felt like I needed something. So I started just looking around. I was going to like every different type of church and this and that and watching TV, and John Edwards popped up and I was like, oh, this guy like totally piqued my interest, should I say. And after John Edwards, I then started looking more into the afterlife, so to say, only because of my dad passing. I really didn't know anything about ghost hunting or anything like that. It was more like, this can't be it,
kind of wanting answers, right?
Yeah.
Kind of seeking
yes. And like saying like, there's gotta be a way, to still connect with him. You know what I mean? Like to me, it just was so impossible. And I don't know if at the time I was just so young and just so like, in denial, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, it did lead me to what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for, the fact that even though I didn't know what path I was following, I just followed it and went with it,
Right.
And it got me to where I am now. And, but the only ever connection, and I don't want to say connection, but the only ever, communication I've ever had with my father was a visit dream. And it was once.
Wow.
And that's it.
And that's so amazing to me that, we all seek that validation and we seek that. And I think we all want to have those connections and contacts with our loved ones of the past. And a lot of us that do this all the time, very rarely or don't. And I sometimes wonder if it's because maybe on a subconscious level, we kind of block that, even though we don't intend to.
Right.
But, I had never had my father come through. I had my aunt. She's been with me a lot. But my father came through, and it was at the seance that night at Wildwood, which is what's up behind me, actually. but that was that night. I mean, if you remember at the seance, Beth actually made contact with my dad, which was really amazing for me, because the things that she mentioned and said, there's no way you guys didn't know us before that night. So there's no way that she could have picked up on the things that she did.
I do remember that. That was awesome. Actually, it's on video. So
Yeah.
It's Facebook Live the whole time. So yeah, that was crazy.
So that's pretty cool. So you kind of know my journey. I mean, does anybody else want to share why they got into this? I know everybody's kind of got, I don't know if you guys wanted to or not. I mean, now we got the echo out. We can kind of refocus this. Al, you guys want to jump in there, or you guys down there?
I'll let Michelle go if she wants to go.
Why I got into the paranormal?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of like you all. I lived in a house that was haunted and had some experiences. And then I ended up going to one of the publics with SRS, and that got me interested. And then I guess I started hanging around them so much, they just took me in.
Yeah, Lee's like, she's not going to quit following us, so we might as well invite her on.
I don't blame you, Michelle. If I lived around there, I would want to be a part of SRS as well.
Well, we'd love to have you.
You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you.
Tom Nally said, got to see John Edwards live. He didn't do a reading for me, but it was cool to see him live. Everybody there could see an aura around him. I thought I was seeing things. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I'll tell you this. I didn't ever, I've seen, and this is, I'm going to sound crazy, but I went to him 5 times live, and I never really got a reading from him. However, just being there was therapy. Like it made me feel like, okay, seeing the people that were having the connections with their loved ones and how he was able to, do all that, to me, it was almost therapy for me, saying, okay, then he must be here. Like there is, what the things that I feel, I'm feeling his spirit, or I'm feeling his energy. You know what I mean? So even if I didn't get a reading, it was still very therapeutic for me, and when I first started this journey, I did want to go into mediumship to help people the way that, how that felt. But I had a bad experience with that, and I kind of shied away with that after, and now I'm like, what, I'm just going to go after, Casper. I'm going to stay away from
on
anything.
The technical side of the coin. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to, play with Casper, and stay away from anything that might be a little dark. So
Tom also said, whatever happened to John Edwards, he seems to have disappeared. I honestly don't know.
So he's not on TV anymore, but he does a lot of private stuff. He did recently, this past year in March, he was live. He was going around touring. I missed it. But his private readings, he's like 6 years booked.
Wow.
Like you can't even get a private reading with him at all, but as far as he just toured, he was just in Atlantic City in March. So
wow.
Yeah.
Megan Talbert said he got too
around.
close to the other side. So I don't know. I don't know if there was a personal reason that he maybe stepped back for a little while.
Yeah.
But it could very well be. But no, that's I think it's really neat. I always love to hear other investigators' stories. And we've known you, Taryn, for about a year now, and we've talked a lot over this last year. And that's stuff that I hadn't heard tonight. So that's really cool. I always love hearing those, why we got into this and why that journey started. And I think it's unique for everybody's got a story per se, but it's unique the reasons why we end up here. And why we do what we do. So I just think that's really cool. Al, you got another question for these guys?
Michelle's going to ask.
Okay, what's your favorite experience and where was it?
I love this question, but I hate this question.
Me too.
It's hard, isn't it? It's a hard question.
So hard.
It is. There's so
hard.
much.
I mean, so we were on last night. You guys answer. You guys answer. I have to think about this one for a moment.
I gotta think too. You got one?
Ooh,
Oh, tell them about your.
Now I can't hear them.
the phone? You want to hear the phone? That's what you said? Oh, yeah.
Can you guys hear them?
What?
I can hear them, yeah.
I can't hear them.
Oh,
You can't hear
Aaron
us?
lost you.
Hello?
You guys can hear us, right?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
That's weird.
Oh, no, what?
Go ahead.
While
I don't
we're
usually-
sorting that out, Tom said that everybody does indeed have a story, but for his, we all need to be drinking. So Michelle is drinking, so at least one of us. Oh, wait,
All drinking.
so is Sabrina.
All
So
right,
two of us are drinking. Oh, wait, Tanner's going to go drink. I'm drinking Mountain Dew. Does that count?
Go ahead. Tell me your story.
Miller Lite.
I had a recent story. So I lived in a home in Collingswood, and the home was built early
Because I
1900s.
can't hear them.
And
So I don't
there
know
was
if they
a-
answered the question.
Actually, he is right now, Taryn.
Oh, sorry.
so there was a garage. It was a workshop back in the early 1900s. There was a guy who did woodwork, really good woodwork, and he did some stuff inside the house. And this is in Collingswood, New Jersey, which is right outside of Philly. And I was in the garage. I felt a presence in the garage, by the way. I think there was an attachment to the original, at the house. He did die in the house.
Oh, wow.
Did talk to the previous owners, the family. The family would, check in. And he did die, and I always felt there was something in that garage, and it had an old like heater stove in it from Sears that was moved from the basement of the house into that garage. The garage was gutted it out. He left his signature in the cement in the ground. And so it was like about 3 p.m. There was still light out. I was in there cleaning up something like dust or whatever. And there's this old landline phone that sits by one of the work desks. And I was like, had my back turned from it. And then it started to ring. No doubt about, let me go back. There was no dial tone. It wasn't connected to anything. I mean, it wasn't working. It shouldn't have been working. And then I started hearing it ring. And I turn around. It's like a movie. Yeah, it's like a movie. I turn around. And
Such a tease.
Why is
That's
this
like,
ringing?
oh wow. I can't hear nothing.
I'm waiting.
And then I
Well,
just started
good
walking
part,
towards it. I'm like, what do I do? And so I go to it, and I picked up the phone, and hello? And there's no dial tone and nothing. And then nothing. It was just a crazy experience, yeah.
Wow.
That was like one of the more recent crazy experiences I had.
And
I
see,
mean, I always had pretty decent experiences, but I like Taryn would know she doesn't like dealing with the negative part of the paranormal. But unfortunately, and well, I can't say unfortunately because I learned a lot and I helped a lot of people. I did negative hauntings, and I think probably, and it still haunts me to this day, is seeing the person's eyes turn black and just like mechanically just move their head toward me and look directly at me, and watching just scratches go down his front of his chest and back right in front of me with nothing
real dark, right?
around. So I think like that probably has been the most traumatic out of all of the negative experiences I had, as well as something actually in front of me happening, where everything else, you always get like, your equipment going off or something, you hear something verbally. Those things are cool, and a lot of people have those experiences, but I would say probably the black eyes is downright the most extreme out of all the haunts.
Well, I have a question. I know the answer to Taryn's what I'm getting ready to ask, but what is your favorite piece of equipment?
My favorite piece of equipment has always really been physical piece of equipment, the recorder, always, hands down, always been. Yeah. But I always like, we say this ourselves, because just that visual and in your head and those feelings and those emotions and being an empath, I consider just myself to be the best instrument, because then I can use myself toward that recorder and visualize the person I'm seeing or what I'm hearing, and be able to ask those questions, and that recorder answering back what I'm feeling or what I'm expressing, and that is validity to me. So out of the equipment has to be the recorder and myself.
Yeah. I know that's Taryn's favorite piece of equipment. as well.
Yeah.
Carried about
I
5 or
think she was going to try to get her stream fixed.
okay.
Yeah, she's back.
Yeah.
But she couldn't hear. She lost all hearing. So
I mean, I haven't really used my equipment in so long. I mean, the equipment that I do have, I use it for events. We never really use too many of much of the equipment in private houses because you never know when they might get a little bit nervous around the people that we're trying to help. So it really depends on what equipment we use inside a private house versus if we were at an event. Like the Ovilus, we would never use at a private event just because some of the words that might come out might construe to the client, is disturbing and might not understand it or whatnot. So we would use like that type of equipment at events. But I always liked my dog that Bob made. In fact, I gotta ask him where my dog is. Taryn, she has my favorite Ovilus. She has, I think, what was it, the 2? Is it the 2? That's a 3. Yeah, that's by far my favorite Ovilus. But everything else, I mean, I don't really use any of it anymore, except for events.
Infrared camera. Really good too. Done on the Molly.
Yeah, well, Taryn has a great infrared camera. I loved hers.
So I mean, so for you, did you evolve, Sabrina? Was it like you started out like everybody else with that stuff, and that as you grew and as you got, as you grew your gifts as an empath, and as you kind of elevated, did that make you steer away from gear and you relied more on your senses? Because I find myself over 15 years, I've evolved quite a bit and I've opened up a lot more, and I'm a sensitive and I connect on a much different level than I did 15 years ago, which, considering I was a complete skeptic, is kind of wild anyway. But so for me, I still love my equipment, but it's more about what I feel and experience. So I kind of get what you're saying. So I was just curious if that was the progression for you, or if you've always had those gifts and, kind of added equipment as you went.
I think maybe I didn't know I had those gifts, and to realize that, I mean, when a kid growing up and I'm thinking, oh my God, was this here all along? And I'm like, growing and learning from other people. And yeah, in the beginning, we were all excited. We went out and grabbed all this equipment and thought it was really cool, the colors and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. As time progressed and as we learned how to tap into those sensitivities, we totally went off without using that equipment. Like same with Taryn, she can hear audible all the time. I mean, she's
she's clairaudient, isn't she?
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
even her, she's dealt with all the equipment too, and she rarely brings it out too. I mean, it definitely is true. We progressed from what we were excited about, all this equipment, and we learning ourselves how to be a conduit and how to use our senses. And now we really rely on ourselves. I find ourselves more credible than like the REM pod. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, that's what we've. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Anthony? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just really quick. So last year at Penhurst, Penhurst and me and Taryn were down with a group of people, and the one guy had he had the latest video camera with just all he was showing off his equipment, and he's dragging everyone with him. And I'm with Taryn, and I'm like, we know it's we know this. We are in Rockwell, by the way. And then they're like going already across the tunnel, and I'm with Taryn, like, Taryn, what are you, Taryn? You feel something? She's like, I feel something. And then she's like, and then I'm like, I think I'm by this door, by this corridor. So we go there, and sure enough, like, I gotta take a picture. So Taryn's like, yeah, there's something right there. And I took a picture, and sure enough, I checked the picture, and there's an anomaly. You agreed that it was an anomaly. It wasn't anything else. Just like, I don't know, I use mediums and clairvoyancy people with the gift to guide me closer to the evidence. And it was just interesting to me, like some people, they just allow the technology to guide them instead of your natural intuition, your gift that you have. I was the same when I first started. It was cameras and video for me, obviously. I started a little bit earlier than both of them. But as I started progressing more, I started to use other people, like either their mastery in anthropology, mediumship, stuff like that. So I think that brings me closer to where I need to investigate, and I feel like I get closer to the evidence when I do that, as rather let the equipment try to chase and like, oh, I don't know, something.
Yeah, and that's a lot what we do too. That's kind of where we kind of changed directions a few years ago too, and we started getting involved more in that stuff. We started working with Rhonda and some of those guys, that group, and we started learning some of the spiritualist side of stuff. The dowsing rods and the old Victorian methods and the seances, and started accepting being a sensitive and opening up more and trying to develop those connections. And I'm a firm believer that the more you dive into this world, the more you connect with spirit, the stronger that gets, and the more your ability to do that, increases, and your ability to, like, for me, I know when we have something there, and I know when something is getting ready to happen. I feel it. And, these gals will tell you, and they're starting to do that too, because they're opening up more and more and more. And I think that what we try to do with that is then use the equipment to cross-validate that. So we're trying to do it both ways, so that we're having those experiences, we're documenting them with instruments as well as the experiments. And it's giving sometimes 2 and 3 layers to what we're trying to accomplish, giving more support to that evidence. When you have, to me, when you have an investigator that feels something and they say they're physically touched, you capture a direct response on an ITC device, and you can document all these changes in the environment. You've just hit the trifecta, and we've done that multiple times. So we've been blessed to be able to capture those moments.
It's good to have that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, not being a fan of equipment, and then when we were at Wildwood, and I always the Essex, right? I never say it right. Experiment or whatever. I got to tell you, like, the things that you guys said that I did, I don't remember doing. So for me, how do I mean,
well, how would, we're limited to 30 seconds, but how would you like to see 2 of those moments for you in the tub at Wildwood?
Yeah.
Like right now, live.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to? If you don't want to, I don't have
any
no, I mean, it's crazy because I totally went into it open-minded. I was like, okay, I'm going to try this, even though I'm not a, and I don't know, when I came out of it and it was insane. That it was just.
So, let me kind of set the stage on that a little bit before we play this clip real quick, not to cut you off, Taryn, but I just wanted to add this. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So we use the SP7, but we have gotten to the point where, and I'm not saying that's one of those controversial pieces of equipment, right? Because if you're not careful, pareidolia could obviously be a real problem. So you have to do your due diligence when you use any piece of equipment. And I think that even holds true for EVPs. I mean, you could say it's an EVP, but if you don't do your due diligence and make sure it's not something you just, they're so sensitive, you could have picked up an investigator 4 rooms over if you're not careful, right? So you have to always do due diligence. So for us, we found that removing the antennas and just using the white noise and then putting them in Faraday bags really eliminates the chances of having a lot of interference or radio bleed over. Now, you still could pick up a really strong radio frequency, but it would be very noticeable and you would know that. So I think, Taryn, you could probably attest, in the 20 minutes that you were in the tub, how much radio snippets did you hear?
None.
So now, what to me was very compelling, I think when you get in that state, and for people that aren't familiar with the Estes, you're listening to the white noise being generated by that machine. You have isolation headphones on, and you have a blindfold on. So you cannot hear the questions being asked. You don't know what's happening in the room because you can't see people reacting to things. You can only react to what you feel. So when we put Taryn in this tub, and this tub that's down there at Wildwood was used for experiments. They would put patients in there and fill them with salt water, and then they would put an electric shock therapy thing on their head, and they would run electrical current through them. They believed it cured addiction, I believe is what the backstory on it was. So we had multiple, sessions that we had done throughout the evening, and this was one of the sessions where Taryn wanted to try it, and she went into this tub. And what was really cool was Beth was actually connecting with a woman, and she was channeling and talking about what this woman was saying and what this woman was feeling. And she was telling us that this woman is really cocky. She's pacing back and forth. I feel kind of like she's a head nurse, and she doesn't think that what we're doing is funny. She doesn't find this amusing. It was almost like she thought we were mocking her in a way, or mocking the spirits. But what's really cool is Taryn's body language and how she reacts. On StreamYard, I can only show 30-second portions of it. So I pulled out 2 of the 30 seconds where you did strange things. But we can put the entire clip up, and I'll Dropbox it so you can download it and take the entire clip there and then look at it however you want and do whatever you want. But here is the first one.
Can you count how many people are in this room right this second and tell Taryn? Go whisper in her ear.
That's not chilling at all. Who's laughing?
You're laughing at the question?
Yeah,
her
I don't
body-
remember. I don't
Your
remember.
body language even changes during that whole time you're in that tub. You were grabbing the sides of the tub. You were like splashing water on yourself. You were doing some strange stuff, but then you just randomly laughed. And that's right when Beth was telling us that she felt that this woman felt we were mocking her by even being there. So do you even remember doing that?
No, I don't. I don't remember doing that. Like seeing it. It's kind of freaky. It's almost like, you know, it reminds me of like when I stayed at this hotel in Gettysburg and I, you know, left a video camera up overnight because I was supposedly staying in the most haunted room and this and that, and like just watching yourself sleep, and you're doing things in your sleep and you don't know that you're doing them, you know. So watching that is like, you think like if you see it you're going to remember, you know, but I don't remember doing it at all. So it's
almost
really
like it's almost like you were
unexplainable to me.
channeling, maybe channeling.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's what we felt when we were talking. Myself, Rhonda, Al, Kevin, and Beth, we were talking that we felt like she was literally channeling. And we kind of feel like from doing that experiment so many times, and we do it a lot, especially at Publix, because it's great for people to experience it, especially non-believers. We can have them experience something and sometimes get a connection that they don't normally get. And we've had several come in non-believers, leave believers at Publix with us from that experiment. And we almost feel like where you're hearing that white noise, you almost get in a trance-like state, right? So you connect, you drop that guard and you connect on a completely different level. And Tom Nelly said he loved that laugh, and he had actually mentioned the bathtub thing earlier. He said you obviously is sensitive based on your experience in that bathtub. So he had actually brought that up prior to the clip. So.
Yeah, well, Tom was with us the whole night. I was Facebook Live. Tom was watching us the whole night. He's like loving it. He was one of the people that like stuck it out all night with us, you know. So, you know, yeah, he that was probably one of his favorite parts because he always brings it up.
I've got one more clip if you want to see it. And again, if you don't want to, we don't have to play it by no means.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, the second one was the end of that session, and you did something really strange. And when we talked to you about it, when you came out, you told us that you didn't do this. So I want to see if you remember doing this.
Like she just not like this. She just thinks like we're like mocking.
We're hoping
We're just trying to learn.
Taryn, your voices come through
Yeah.
SB7 and tell us what they say.
Yeah.
Told you.
So,
She's
are you a patient?
I can feel she's channeling.
Are you a patient?
Yep, I don't remember that either.
Yeah, so I mean, it was really cool because you had these two experiences that you don't remember, and that's why when we talk about this in paranormal, people a lot of times will say, "Well, how can you have an experience and you won't remember it?" In my journey over 10 years, I have had experiences that people will tell me after the fact. My team will tell me after the fact, "Hey, you did this or that," and I don't remember doing it. And I think it's sometimes because we connect on that level, but it's a little different. It's a different connection. So I hope you don't mind me sharing it. We just really wanted to get your reaction to it.
Well, it really it takes away all your senses, and you're just in like like somebody said earlier, like a trance-like state, because
Yeah,
you're just
absolutely.
focused on that, that noise, and you can't
That
see.
noise, yeah.
Yeah. So
It really was, an experience, even though I don't remember, but seeing it, to me, I don't remember hearing the yap yap yap. I don't remember laughing. I don't remember saying it, nothing. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that I was a part of that and that did happen. You know what I mean? Even though I can't remember it, I'm still happy that it happened, I guess.
But it's weird. It's weird seeing something that you don't remember. To me, that's strange. When I go back and we have moments where we look at evidence of something, I'll be like, golly, I don't remember that at all. And it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's a strange feeling.
It really is weird. It really is weird. I don't know. I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. I mean, and honestly, and that's what sucks. I feel like we were talking about something a little bit ago where, you know, Sabrina was talking about, the equipment and everything like that, and not using it at, private houses and stuff, because, one of the things is, you go into the private houses and people they watch these shows that are on TV, and everything on the shows is negative and everything is, so,
Hey, run the demon out, right?
it's just very, none of the shows are good anymore. Like I remember, when we first started talking, it's like, ghost hunters, they just did it the way we do it. When they first came out, like that's how we do it, and
Which brings me to a good point that we could all talk about real quick. It sort of goes along with what you guys are talking about. It's two things. There is a video. I won't put it up here live because I don't want to blast somebody. I don't like to do that. But I will definitely send it to all of you. Al, you watched it last night. This guy on YouTube that has this massive following, and it is just disgusting what they are trying to pass off as legitimate paranormal experiences and legitimate paranormal research. And it just absolutely is one of my biggest pet peeves is to do that in that light, because it gives people such a bad taste of what we really do. And I want to share that with you guys privately so you guys can see it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. But Al, you saw it last night. You know what I'm talking about. It was
it was beyond terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not afraid to say, because what I worry about is, people that are paranormal enthusiasts, if you will, people that don't do what we do and they just kind of, are what I was watching ghost hunters, like, oh, that's so awesome. They're like watching the Zach Baggins and, and going out there running around in the cemetery and throw stuff at me and come and get me and kill me and do this and do that. And, you're so big and bad, So some 15-year-old kid could be watching that and, thinks Zach Baggins walks on water and goes out there in the cemetery or goes somewhere. And, sometimes ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, Zach does it. So this must be how I'm supposed to do it. It's just.
And that's exactly right. And that's what I think people don't understand. And Sabrina, you dealt with a lot with negative hauntings. So it might be something for you to speak on. Because I've dealt with a few. I didn't actually seek out negative cases. So over my career, residential work, I've encountered a few, but it wasn't something I actually went and was called to a lot of. I haven't had a lot of negative cases, which I'm glad, because cases can be very difficult. But these people see these things and then they think that that's the right way to do things. And there's two problems with that. The first thing is you may make a situation untenable for the people that have asked you to come in and help, number one. And number two, you're also opening yourself to serious issues. People don't realize there is legitimate dangers in what we do. I mean, there really is. You can get, how many here have actually dealt with death issues? I know I have. It's not fun. So if you've ever dealt with that, you know what I'm talking about. It's a scary, scary thing.
Yeah, well, there was a time period where I had some really spiritual issues. I had really bad problems, and Taryn was actually really the only one who could differentiate between the spiritual and what was medical. So, I mean, we had a long, almost 2 year battle, basically, Taryn, right? Of dealing with what came with doing those cases. And it really affected me, affected my family, it affected my child, affected me physically, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, I was on the verge of some terrible issues that could have ended up in a really bad way. And thank God for Taryn and her doctor to help me through that. To try to get answers, because it really is dangerous if you, even if you know what you're doing. Nobody's an expert. There's nobody who is an expert, especially when it comes to negative cases. Anybody can get hurt, no matter how faithful you are, no matter how protected you are. Somehow, some way, those invisible things that you're not aware of finds its way. And still, even doing regular cases, Casper cases, we come across little things where, all right, well, I came home doing a little cemetery crawl, and, lo and behold, something is, poking at me in the middle of the night. And I did my protections and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, there are dangers. So, whether you're a beginner or been doing it for a long time, you got to watch yourself. And the people who don't realize, and they go watch these shows and think that they're an expert and just go out and do it, you're in for a real surprise, because it's going to get hurt.
So I'm going to piggyback off that. And I don't even know if Sabrina knows this, which now that it's coming up, I don't know why I never said anything. But it just was one of the things that, I feel like, I talked to one person about it. So Sabrina knows me. With the group we used to be in, we had people that just dealt with Casper, and then we had the people that would go on, special, the negative cases and stuff. And, at one point I wound up being the co-director of this group. And, I always said, I want nothing, even because we would have there would be different, I don't know how you guys do it, but we would have green, yellow, orange, red, So I was comfortable up and black, but I was comfortable up until the yellow, I'm like, I don't even want anything that's a pinkish hue. Don't even send anything my way with that. I don't want nothing to do with it. And I always did my due diligence of protecting myself. Even there's been a couple of cases that came my way that I would have to reach out to the client. I was like, ooh, some red flags, and I would hand it off, because I'm like, not going there.
And that's really cool. So you guys
don't know why this happened, but one night
actually had a color system. I want to make sure I understand it. So you actually had a color system.
So
green was not that bad, and black was really bad, or
so green, Casper. Yellow is it's still Casper, but there's some little things that you might have to deal with. Orange would have been a little bit more than there might be more than one factor going on here. Something might just be, not happy, or, whatever. And then red would be okay, this would be the special the special response team would go in, because this could be something legit. Black would be legit, the holy, I don't know what you want to call
full blown oppression. A lot of really negative things, like that one with the black eyes and the scratching going on, and having to do blessings on and working on the client itself, things that would be considered black. People getting physically hurt, trying to kill themselves, things like, that type of things, knives being thrown at the wall, all that type, that's black.
Seriously bad level activity.
Yeah, black is the stuff that you see on TV that you don't think exists, but it does. It's rare, but it does. But anyways, I always kept myself away from that,
And the back of my mind, I respect that side of it, you know, and I know that doing what I do, what we all do, there's always, you know, the door is open, you know, you just, you have to know how to protect yourself and know how to, you know, I feel like that side has called me there, but I refuse. Like, I'm not doing it, you know? But anyways, I, one night again, had a dream, and in my dream, I was protecting a woman and a child and a baby, and I was literally fighting a demon. Like, and I mean, like fist fighting, like going after, and like, you know, and I remember I was at the one house and I defeated it, right? And she's like thanking me, and the baby is like, oh, you know, crying, and you know, this, it's all this big emotional thing. It was so detailed. And I said, all right, I can't stay because I got to go to the next house. It's moving to the next house. So like, I go to the next house, you know, and for a second time, I defeated this thing, you know. I since then, at the time, could describe it to a T, but I think I've like put it so far back, like I just remember the color, you know, but the everything. I woke up the next day. It was so unexplainable. I woke up the next day, my entire body, and I put my hand on the Bible, I swear to you, my entire body from head to toe was so sore. And there was bruises. Even, and I'm gonna just say this, I like, because I'm big chested, but like the muscles in my chest were hurting. Like I did like all these push-ups, and like it was insane. I could barely walk. And that was a dream. So for me, I was like, that's too close. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know.
That was more than a dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
That was more than a dream.
thinking like that's almost like an astral projection type of thing. Like to me, it sounds like you went to another place and on a spiritual level actually had that experience. I totally believe those transcendent experiences exist.
Yeah, and literally for 3 days, my body was sore. Like I had been through boot camp. Like it was just insane. And the bruises, and like it was just so unexplainable, you know. And I only went to one person who at the time, you know, I trusted and, you know, looked up to, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is what you experienced, just, you know, blah 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 blah, you know. And luckily never experienced anything ever again like that, you know what I mean? But you know, not
had you recently had a semi-dark case, or were you getting ready to go to a case that ended up being that way?
That's what I was going to say. Like not working on that side of things to, you know, for me, I was like, all right, you know, in the physical world, you know, I'm refusing, you know, like I'm not letting this happen. I'm not, you know, blocking this, you know, I'm not doing it, you know. So now you want to come at me, and you know what I mean? I'm like, it's not happening, you know. I'm not doing it.
But even though that she wouldn't probably not see the case if she was in the group at the time. And say we were getting a really bad case, even though some people won't see those case files or what was going on, it could still affect the entire group. So I mean, she could have been feeling something that was coming maybe one of our ways, and you know, she got being a protector. You know, it could have been trying to. She could probably saw it and kind of try to intervene somehow to try to protect, you know, one of the people in the group at that time. So it's very possible, like things like that can get intertwined with the people in your group or
you bring up a very good point, Sabrina. When you work together on a level that we all do, and when you have a team and you are going into these cases, and there's a certain obviously level of trust there, because we have to believe in each other and trust each other, because we're going into sometimes some scary situations. And I think you also start connecting on almost a kinetic or telekinetic type level sometimes with your own teammates, even though you don't realize it. Even if you're not quote unquote gifted, you still have those connections, those subconscious connections, and what affects one of us can affect all of us. And you bring a very good point with that. That is something I think is very, very true.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like we were, like the directors and the co-directors, we would look at everything, and then we would pretty much we would know before it even came, because we'll have something that happens, or a dream or something. My daughter might have a bad dream. I'm like, oh shit, there's a case coming, you know,
Right.
and that would be one of the signs. And then, you know, sure enough, a case will come. So even your own family can get hit, and you get hit before the client even comes to you with a problem. So, and then that's usually when we're like, okay, when we get that information and it's really bad, then we're like, guys, we got a red flag. So in our meeting, you know, we'll be like, listen, there's a bad case coming up, blah, blah, blah. You know, shield yourself up, you know, and that goes for everybody in the group, whether they're not dealing with the negative cases or not. The people who are dealing with regular cases have to be just as alert, because, like I said, it funnels through to try to conquer and divide the whole team. So for it not to go and help these people, and that goes for, you know, all the different cases too. You know.
Yeah, one of the most difficult things with private cases, especially with the negative stuff, for sure. You know, but you know, is the client not listening to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many times where you try, you know, they're coming to you for help, and you got to try to tell them, you know, listen, these are the things you got to do, you know, and when they don't listen, and then, you know, you know, you're in this to help people, right? So when that's in your blood, in your heart, you know what I mean? Obviously, you guys are firefighters. You know, I work in the healthcare field. Sabrina's, you know, with the government. I mean, we help people.
Public
as our
servant.
job,
Yeah.
but we also do this way. So, right. So when you're trying to help somebody, and you feel, you know, these are the best ways you can do it, and the person just doesn't listen, and you have to finally, like, to protect your team, you know, you have to say, look, you got to find somebody else to help you, because we're obviously, you know, and let that person go, and knowing the shit that they're going through. Can I curse on your show? I'm sorry. I know we do on ours.
Have you met us before?
But knowing the stuff they're going through, and having to say, look, you gotta find somebody else, like that's like the worst outcome any private case was. Ross, no.
Every dog's happy. But no, yeah, and that's absolutely right, and that's another thing that we talk about a lot. We've talked about it every time we've been on any show, and we talk about it as a team a lot. You have these, like, you have categories of people that are serious people that really want to help people and really want to get answers in the paranormal, like us and you guys and people that are like us. And then you have the thrill seekers, and it's okay. We all kind of start out as thrill seekers to some degree, and that's okay. But I think you evolve if you get serious about this. You start becoming professional, and I don't mean professional because we get paid to do this. I mean professional in how we conduct ourselves and how we handle ourselves. That's what I call professionals, and I think that's what we all are that are on this panel right now. And that's why I hate to see people going out and doing residential work when they don't know what they're doing. Going out and trying to get your thrill or capture a piece of evidence at somebody else's expense when they're maybe going through the most terrifying thing in their life is a horrible thing to do. And we see a lot of that. And I know in our case, we've had cases where we've had to go back in and try to fix a problem because they just made it worse for the people that were there, and then left them high and dry. Like, oh, I got my AVP, so run around, good luck, see ya. And we've run into that, and it's a horrible thing.
We talk about this. We talk about this very, very thing. And the last, maybe what, Sabrina, 3 or 4 private cases that we've had, we don't go to a private case hoping to have an investigation. We go hoping to help. So the last 3 or 4, I'm proud to say we have not had to do investigations.
Exactly. Us too. Our last 2 that we did was the same way. Exactly.
And our last one involved 3 small children. And for me, for them, I check in with the mom every 2 weeks, and I ask her, I'm like, how are things going? Because it was the children that were afraid and not sleeping and did this and that.
Exactly.
And things have been good, knock on wood, but they've been good, and we didn't have to do an investigation. We went out there 3 times. We helped them. We talked to the kids. We did this whole thing. Our goal was not to do an investigation. Our goal was to, first of all, those 3 kids were our number one priority. Us doing an investigation in that house is not going to help those kids. So
Sounds a lot like our last one we did.
Greenville case that we had,
Yeah.
yeah,
we had a case nearby to us that was the same kind of scenario. We had some small kids that were really feeling the effects of this, and we were able to come in, and we brought myself and Al and Rhonda, and we went in there, and Rhonda was able to connect and help get answers to what it was, and we were able to do all that without actually doing an investigation. We did interviews, and we felt out the situation. We felt what we felt was going on and suspected was going on. And it's kind of interesting because what you brought up about dreams can be a good thing too, because for me, this has happened more than once, and that case, the same thing happened. I had something happen to me in the dream and more of in the meditation state, but I had something come to me that ended up being directly related to that case, and it helped us get answers to that case. And Rhonda had the same thing when she got there. She connected with the exact same thing that I had seen. So it helped guide us in what was going on without ever having to do an investigation. The family never had to leave the house. We never had to break out any equipment. We never had to do anything other than our due diligence to try and figure out what was going on and ask questions and do the interviews.
yeah. And that's the important thing. When you go to the historical sites, that's the fun stuff. That's our playground, right?
Yes.
Go there. We investigate. We share our evidence. We're all excited about the stuff because that's what we're doing. We're going there to investigate. We're going there to get our evidence. We're going there to get your EVPs and your pictures and videos and so for me that's the fun part of what we do. But private house is totally different. My mindset is not to go to a private house and do an investigation. That's not what I want to do. So
absolutely.
If we wind up having to do one, so be it. But I would say if most of our private homes, we have not done an investigation. We have helped the client, and that's something that I'm proud of. I really pride ourselves on that.
Absolutely. And you got to ask the tough questions too, right? I mean, it's not just about the paranormal stuff in those cases. You got to ask tough questions. Is there abuse issues? Is there alcohol issues? Is there drug issues? These are relevant things, not because we're judging people, but because we have to have all of the pieces, right? We have to have all of the facts so we can maybe try to figure out what is spirit related and what isn't, and try to help these people. Because to me, helping people isn't just about saying, oh yeah, your house is haunted, or no, your house isn't. That's nothing to do with it. It's about actually figuring out what is causing the feelings that these people are having, and then trying to offer them a solution. Not just going in there and saying, oh yeah, this is happening, and then leaving. You have to be willing to see it through and find a viable solution for what's happening to these people.
Yeah. I mean, we have a 52 questionnaire for people. They have to fill that out, and we let them know it's confidential. We let them know that nothing's going to be divulged because we need to know these things. We need to know, because if there are psychological issues going on, that could be a whole nother ballgame. You know what I mean? And it's not just to get to know what you're dealing with, but it's also to protect your team as well. You don't want to just throw your team into somewhere where if somebody really is, being when I was a part of a group I'm not going to mention, I was the co-director. The director was insisting on me taking my team into a house where the woman was a certified, and when I say certified, meaning there was, we used to request medical records and everything.
Right.
So she was a schizophrenic who her husband decided she didn't need her medications. So this woman has been off of her medications, and here is the director insisting that I take a team into this woman's house who's a schizophrenic, has been off of her medications for 2 months. I'm like, dude, she's like gonna like what if somebody walks around the corner and she doesn't know what's going on, who's real, who's not real, who's out to get her, who's not. You know, I'm like,
Yeah, are there
she's
weapons in
gonna
the
get
house?
hurt,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
So
That's when he went off the
needless to
deep
say,
end there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's when we
And
kind of got out.
Yeah, that's
He
when
was
I
good
like,
up until that point, basically.
right.
He was like the best
Yeah.
until that point.
And sometimes it's just, it's right. It's right to make that exit because it's just, you're not jiving anymore, and that you don't have that cohesiveness between your team members. That spills over in everything you're doing too. And if you don't bring your A game and you don't have your people on the same page, you're going to maybe have more issues not only at the location but internally, and you risk bringing more problems on yourself and the team. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Scary
I
stuff.
just want to add that this is going to prove how much I love you guys, because as the show was going on, Mike Pence was on TV talking, and I was like,
we knew you interrupted Pence, Tom.
Yeah, we were wondering if that's maybe why you had. I didn't realize you didn't get the email. We were kind of wondering if maybe that's why you shut us up.
So
I was like, Pensie's on, but I gotta go on, and I go on.
Well, we appreciate it, and we're glad that you love us that much, because we love you guys too.
So are you DVR?
I just told Rob to DVR it.
What'd you say, Al? I'm sorry.
I said I was asking her if she was DVR.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. How about one fun question before we see where we're going to go with this thing? So one of the questions we've been asking lately, and it's kind of fun, is if you were a ghost, right, and you could pick your ghost outfit, what would it be?
All right, say that again.
Fun question. If you're a ghost and you could pick your ghost outfit, what would it be?
If I could pick my ghost outfit, what would it be?
And I'll tell you where this came from. We had this big discussion this one time on one of our road trips about what happens. So, like, if I check out right now, is this my ghost outfit, or do I like to pick? So that kind of is why we asked this question. Just a fun thing to see the different answers.
That's a good question. Let's
Well,
see.
Terrence is going to be like a Civil War officer uniform or something. Like a nice, cavalry,
Would it north or south?
No. I think I definitely would have to do like the what Tony said, but it would have to be like, the huge, like, fluffy, what is it, like the Civil War era, like, dress,
with the hoop.
totally mess,
I was
totally mess everybody up.
male.
And they'd be like, oh yeah, she died. She must be from the Civil War era. She was in period dress. I'm like, nah, bitches. I died in 2020.
What about you guys? Sabrina, Anthony, what's yours?
What's yours?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I would look like I would have the
How would you
ruffled
know
shirt.
mine, but not yours?
Huh? Ruffled shirt?
I would have like the ruffled shirt, crushed velvet.
Are you talking about what
Like
Seinfeld?
the 70s kind of thing going on?
I want to look like I want somebody to say, "Oh man, that's like straight out of the Inner Right novel or something." Like he's a vampire. I know he is. He's a vampire. No.
I would definitely be in like the Victorian era,
Yeah, Victorian.
or medieval times too. I would like to be, one of those medieval soldiers, not soldiers, but like knights. I would like to be a knight.
So, see, I'm
Like,
going
yeah,
totally
Going to wars in England,
Oh yeah. I'm going totally different. I'm going with the executioner's robe, a skull mask, and a sickle, and I'm going to be
Okay.
Grim Reaper everywhere I go. That way, people are going to say, "Man, I saw the Grim Reaper." So that's what
There you go.
They don't
That's
want
awesome.
to hear my answer, probably.
go for it, Al.
I said if I was going to come back and scare people, I'd just be me.
Is what, dude?
Yeah.
I totally have to go with what's that? What's that one chick? I always forget her name. She was in one of the vampire movies. Everybody, all the guys think she's like so hot, but I always forget her name.
True Blood.
Winona Ryder?
No. The Blood series on HBO.
No. They were movies. It was like
Oh, Twilight?
Twilight. No.
No.
Can you really call those vampire movies? Seriously, can we? I don't think so. No.
Uh,
She said movies.
Like Interview with the Vampire, or are we talking like what? What
movies.
vampire movie are we talking?
No.
Oh, you're talking about Kate Beckinsale.
Yes.
Underworld.
Underworld.
Yeah. So you know how she dresses in those movies? That would be my thing. You know, I like the black, you know, the tight. I mean, like I'm wearing them right now. You know, like I like the whole tight black.
There you go, Michelle. The leggings. There it is.
That's what I said.
Leggings.
My black leggings.
She's wearing leggings,
leggings.
but they're not black.
I'm gonna be like that badass, like you know, that's what I would do.
I'm going
And Tom Nelly's going with Freddy Krueger for his.
Freddy Krueger.
I had a hard time keeping up with the comments. I'm sorry, guys. I keep forgetting to check over there.
No, I can't even see them.
Yeah, I can't see them anymore. I did earlier.
Yeah, this one came up.
You can see them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
Go ahead, Al.
one question I had for you guys: what would be like your dream location to investigate?
Oh man.
Dream location.
So would this be so?
Mine would have to be. I would have to go to Romania for Transylvania.
Another one, that's it.
It's high on the bucket list.
Yeah,
I could totally see that. A lot of history over there too. A lot of cool history.
I have two. I have a politically correct one and not politically correct one. Definitely Treblinka. But I wouldn't. I don't know if I can. That's my politically correct one. Glad the Impaler Castle.
Mine, you know, I'm not that adventurous. You know, I'm I like to stay in my comfort zone, the United States. So, mine would be the Stanley Hotel. For
That's
sure.
a good one.
If I had a free range, you know what I mean, and nobody, I want to go there so bad. So that's going to be my thing.
I thought you were going to say I want to go to Tennessee and go somewhere with you guys, but okay.
But see, one day I for sure am going to get to Tennessee, right? I mean, I don't know how, Stanley Hotel. That's a big, huge trip, and who knows if I would even get to investigate the Stanley Hotel, even if I went there. You know what I mean?
True.
So.
But even just going to see it would be really cool. I mean, I like some of them places, even if I can't investigate. Like, we didn't get to investigate Lizzie Borden's when we went up to New England, but we got to go there, so it was still really cool to be there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Don't get it twisted. I definitely would have a recorder up in my room. I would totally sneakily be, you know what I mean? But, I don't know if you guys watched the Ghost Hunters Live episode when they were there and Jason and Grant are in the basement and they start getting that little girl talking back and you know what I mean? I was like, it was ever since then. I was like, that is it. That's where I want to go.
Sure. Tom said he thought you'd go at Gettysburg.
But Gettysburg is that's where I want to move to. But yeah, Gettysburg is my go-to for everything.
I have never investigated there. That's some place that I would love to do.
Listen, I have my very good friend owns the Inn at Lincoln Square, which is amazing. And if you guys want to go, I mean, we could do. I was trying to do this last night, but let's do it. So let's do a social distancing ghost hunt. We'll do it at the Inn at Lincoln Square in Gettysburg.
Okay.
Right? They have 6 rooms. So they have 3 suites in the house, and then they have 3 townhouses. We could all split up and stay 6 feet apart. It'll be the first social distancing ghost hunt ever.
I like it. I think that's a cool idea. I like it a lot.
You say the word, and she'll do it. She's like, she already told me. She's like, nobody's booking. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I can't wait till all this craziness subsides and the country gets back to normal. I mean, it's been wild. It's tough.
It is tough. It is very tough.
So before
But
all
you
this
know,
COVID stuff happened, did you guys have anything big planned, or do you have anything big planned for when the
Yeah.
stuff was lifted that you want to share? I mean, if you don't want to share it, I understand.
yeah,
We were
had,
supposed to go to the Conjuring House May 1st.
Oh wow!
got pushed back. We got
You were
pushed back
supposed to go
to
in
the third.
February.
Yeah, pushback. So the
Yeah.
Conjuring House was one of them. We also had Phenom, which unfortunately had to be canceled. So Phenom was the convention. That was upsetting for us, but obviously we understood. But yeah, that would have been more of the convention side, not
Right.
the investigation side of it. But I think the investigation was what? It was the Conjuring House was next.
That would be the Conjuring House. Yeah, it got rescheduled to May 30th, so I'm hoping that still is a go.
Possibility for you guys, yeah, for sure.
Going to be amazing, and I'll be live on Facebook, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, Phenomenology. But Phenomenology, they had a couple investigations that they'd be doing too, and then the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, which is amazing. It supports veterans and children with disabilities.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's an awesome event. You guys really should check it out and see if you guys can't make it. It's amazing.
Well, we're up for a good road trip when this stuff's over.
Yeah.
What happened?
We're up for a good road trip outside when this is over.
Yeah.
You guys, I already told you guys. You guys are more than welcome to stay at my house. It's big enough. I have plenty of room. You know what I mean? And we just do whatever. I mean, it although, I'm not going to charge you a fee to stay here, but some moonshine.
I was going to say, I'm now going to come into this conversation. I was waiting for it. I
Just saying.
you probably could get a hold of some really good moonshine for you.
Oh.
I feel pretty confident.
Are you guys familiar with Hell's Bar Dam at all?
No.
Oh.
I'm not.
Well, we actually got to go there, 3 or 4 weeks ago, right before this stuff happened.
All this broke with COVID that weekend right before.
Super, super cool location. It's the #1 haunted place in Tennessee. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Third most haunted place in the South.
Fourth most haunted place in the United States. And
listen, I want to come to Tennessee. I really do.
There's so many places to go when you come.
I know.
Here anytime.
You guys gotta let me know, like, seriously, how much time I need. You know what I mean? Like if we were to do an investigation, because you would be tired. But let's just say we were to do an investigation at a different place every night. If like say we got there Thursday, but we investigated Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, would that be enough time? I'm just saying.
Well, when we do road trips, we do multiple times. We're good at that. We
try to make it worth our while,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you guys did it when we went to Wildwood. You guys didn't stop at Wildwood. You guys were at Hinsdale, then you guys went to
Niagara Falls,
Rolling Hills, and
we went over to Salem for a couple of days.
Wow.
Which, by the way, Rolling
That's
Hills
a paranormal vacation.
was the best place I had experience. I had, the best experience. I mean, like, I heard little kids singing "London Bridge is Falling Down."
Oh wow!
I had a laugh, like literally, I could feel the breath on my cheek, and it was like this goofy, like you could tell it was a patient, like he was like like this goofy laugh right here.
That's cool.
Heard it with my ears, got it on record. Like, it was just, Rolling Hills was amazing.
Well, we actually drove up to Rolling Hills after we left Hinsdale and checked it out. We didn't get to go inside, but we were wanting to, but we were like an hour away. So
in that trip, we spent 40 hours driving. with everything over that, plus investigating and everything else. But we literally, what was 4 hours, wasn't it, out that we called up in the car?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was awesome. It was a great experience.
Yeah, except for the brakes. When the brakes went out, that was bad.
That was not a good experience. You know, that was actually.
I had to have new brakes put on in Boston.
By the way, Dee Patrick says hello, and she said something about that I hear shine. And Tom said that he's got a big trip planned to Sama Mansion with you guys, so he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with some of these as they pop up.
So I got a question for you guys. Do you guys watch Chicago Fire? Don't you
Yes,
say you
I
watch it?
actually do. Yes.
No.
But I don't watch
I
it
was like,
for the
no, I don't
firefighting
watch it.
side, okay? Because that would be like watching, Ghostbusters, the movie, and thinking that's actually like we can like put them in containment units and stuff, okay? But the drama and the characters are really cool. So me personally, yes, I actually watch all of Chicago.
I probably need to give it another chance. But the first episode I watched, a building that collapsed on the guy's leg, and they took a rusty sawzall off the truck.
You got to get past all that. You can't.
Yeah, and I was like, that would never happen. So, you know,
You can't look at that stuff. You got to just look at the characters and enjoy the interactions of the people. It's almost like a soap opera, I guess, if you will. It's kind of more than it is an actual fire show.
Me and Rob, we DVR it. We watch it all the time, right? And I'm always looking at him. I go, how many times does the fire department show up when somebody calls 911? Like, it doesn't have, they show up to every call and they're there first before the police. And like, it's always like these big, huge, like crazy scenarios.
And it all happens in their zone.
Yeah.
Yep. Always.
Only their zone. I mean, that's the crazy thing. But it's a good show. I do like the show.
So, Taryn, you'd be proud of me. I actually sat down and watched a couple of episodes of your The Unexplained the other day.
Oh, tell me, did you like it?
I did like it. Yeah.
It's a
First
good
of Oak Island and one with all the Hellspot Comet and all that. That one.
It's such a good show. You gotta watch. I mean, it totally, like, when you watch it, it's like, and Shatner, he really just sits there and just like kind of commentates. You know what I mean? But like all the facts behind it and everything like that. Like, I seriously like tell them, I'm like text them. I go, I just watched Unexplained. We got to do Lost Civilizations. This is great. Like, this is great shit. You know, like, it's so awesome. It's such a good show.
Speaking of shows, is anybody watching Skinwalker Ranch?
We're gonna watch episode 2 tonight.
Yeah, we saw the first episode. We didn't get to see the second one.
Probably on
Yeah.
episode 3.
Just watched the third one. I won't tell you what happened in either the second or the third, so we won't spoil it.
Yes,
I'm afraid this is going to turn into an Oak Island.
Yeah.
I'm afraid we're going to have like 10 seasons of data and no answer to Skinwalker. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with this show. But
it seems like it's the same people doing it.
It might be the same.
It seems like it is like the same thing. It feels like.
Similar.
I can't. I don't know what happens on this show. I guess they're investigating. First of all, how are they allowed? I thought they weren't letting anybody on the property. You know.
Okay. The Shermans bought the ranch in 94, and they ran it for a couple of years. Battle on it. Had some weird stuff happen. Then they got creeped out and they sold it to Robert Bigelow, who's big in aeronautics and things like that. And he actually got a grant from the federal government to investigate UFO.
20 years, wasn't it? 20 years worth of it, wasn't it? 20 years investigated it under.
Giving $22 million to investigate all this phenomena that was happening on the ranch. And really, they said the records are sealed. I don't think they have anything. Is my opinion. And then he turned around and sold it for what was it, $22 million.
Something like
this guy that.
No, that was the contract. 22 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he turned around and sold it for a couple million to this guy that's got it now, and he's the one that's brought all these experts in to try to. I think there's some weird stuff going on there, like with probably radiation and things like that. But
Yeah.
you know, it's just. I think Michelle
You
had.
got to think about all of the research that has been done on that property. There's been so much research, and nothing has ever been found.
Answer.
You know, I mean, like,
Yeah.
yes, weird shit has happened, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons I won't watch it.
The animal stuff.
Yeah. I say it all the time. I'm one letter short from PETA. I'm just PET. You know, so the animal stuff to me, you know, I can't handle. Which is why I won't watch that stupid Tiger King crap.
They have not. They talked a little bit about that, but it's not a focus on the show. They're focusing more, in my opinion, so far on the land itself. And is this radiological? Is it a geological anomaly? You know, they're looking for that type of stuff right now, is what it seems like to me. I mean, they're talking about the paranormal and the extraterrestrial stuff a little bit, but they seem to be really focused on trying to eliminate the geophysics side of this coin and trying to get those answers. Is what it seems like.
I'm very intrigued by it. Like, there was a documentary, Skinwalker Ranch, and I was informed by a lot of people not to watch it. You know what I mean? Because it does show a lot of the animal stuff.
Focuses on that.
So what's going to happen is I'm not going to let, that sounds really rude, but you guys watch it, right? And then as long as it's animal safe for me, then let me know, and then I'll watch it. Because I'm very intrigued by it. But
they show very little on the animal.
I'll be scarred for weeks.
No, then she don't. No, the first episode. Yeah.
That was
So the first episode's the most important episode of a season.
They had a little portion. I did forget. Yeah, they did have a little portion in that first episode. The next two, they don't really talk a whole lot. It comes up one conversation, but it's not. They don't even show it. They just talk about that they had found mutilated animals on the property.
Yeah, but the next,
like, I know what happened. Like, I know that there's, you know, like, I know that there was, like, you know, baby cows found. There's no blood or nothing. It was just bones and skin, and you know what I mean. Like, I know that there was stuff found, but like, I know in that Netflix documentary they actually showed pictures of stuff. You know what I mean? And
I think
for me, I can't believe that there would be, when I think of paranormal and I think of, you know, energies and spiritual and this and that, I can't think of any type of spiritual, you know, something that would do that to an animal. You know what I mean? So, you know, right away I'm like, you know, the people were crazy. They were doing it. You know, you start to think, like, you know, it's just something else besides, you know, spiritual.
I think when you look at that, you got to look heavily at the Native American side of that. You know, you got to look at what's going on between the Navajo and the Ute and what that was happening with them. If there is something, I could see the stuff dating back to them being related to sacrificing different powers, because that was a big belief in some Native American cultures, especially if they were trying to curse another tribe, which is one of the things that might be happening.
No, yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Like, I didn't think of it.
I don't think that's the modern day mutilation. That's something else. But I'm saying when you talk about on a spiritual or a paranormal level, that's the only thing I can think of is the act of conjuring or sacrifice to do something dark or negative. Because
What happened?
you know, dark Wiccans that.
Where'd Matt go?
there.
Oh, there you are.
You know, I did read somewhere where
Hey.
StreamYard and all these platforms are being heavily used, so it's probably like a streaming issue.
Yeah, I'd say so. There was a couple of
And then you got to think of like all the attraction over the years. You don't know what people have gone there and, you know, what they've done, what
Yeah.
they've sent there, what they've, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so many. There's been so many things done there. There's been
Sure.
rituals, there's been investigations, there's scientific, there's UFO stuff, there's like, it's just so much stuff has been done there, and I don't know. I'm very intrigued by it, but I don't like the whole animal thing. Like when there used to be there was this show on Animal Planet. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was a paranormal show on Animal Planet, and
I don't remember one on Animal
it was
Planet.
like, yeah. And it was basically like, people's animals that were, being affected or sensitive or whatever,
Oh, wow.
And
That was a long time ago.
yeah, and I would watch this show and I would just be like, yelling at the TV, right? Because these people would literally, they're like, because I keep thinking, like, if this was their kid, would they like let it go on this long, right? It's like, oh, all of a sudden my cat is like, I saw it fly up in the air and go and hit the wall. And then it stopped eating and it wouldn't come onto our bed. And then it wouldn't come. And it's like, how long would you let, like, you know what I mean? For me, like, they're my babies. I have 5 fur babies. I would leave. I'd be like, okay, something is messing with them to the point where they're ill.
They're getting harmed. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's-
why? And then it's like, people are like, and then he passed away. And then I realized that we had to do something. And it's like, what?
Yeah, and it's Al and I were talking about another show. Speaking of shows, I can't stand to watch this show, and I'm very selective on what I watch paranormal wise anyway, because it's like the fire stuff. It's hard to watch certain things. But My Woods is Haunted, or Haunted Woods, or
These woods are haunted.
yeah, I can't stand that show. I just don't like it.
What's
And
it called?
just, My Woods Are Haunted, or These Haunted Woods, or what is
These
that?
woods are haunted.
Yeah, These Woods Are Haunted. I can't. Oh my God, that show it's horrible. I just can't stand to watch it because they tell these stories and it's so far out there. And a lot of times it's stuff like you're talking about, like, well, I don't know, my dog. Every time I let my dog out, it would get attacked by this unforeseen thing. And it's like, well, you kept letting your dog out. What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you live allowing these things to happen to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got on my soapbox for a minute about that show. I apologize.
No. I've never even seen it. I'm glad I haven't. It sounds like, because
it's horrible. Don't watch it. If it comes on, just click it. Go on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, that show. And I'm just gonna put it out there. So sorry if anybody's watching and they like it. And I apologize. With Dead Files, I can't even.
You've got a demon. Get saved.
The way they handle their clients is just beyond me.
Yeah.
I can't. These poor people are like bawling their eyes out. And they're like, all right, see you guys later. It wants to rape your son, wants to kill your wife, and isn't going to stop until it possesses you and burns your house down.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Wait,
we need to get some sage and burn sage only. Like, that's her answer to everything, Amy Allen. That's like all she wants to do. And don't get me wrong, I am all for burning sage. I am totally into that whole side of this thing too. I'm just saying that is like her go-to answer for every case, it seems like.
I can't stand her facial expressions.
Me too. I watched one season, and
I wish I
actually
could share a
one
picture
season,
of
and then I was done with it. I never watched it.
Oh,
couldn't
my
handle
gosh.
it.
I'm gonna send you guys this like meme I made. Remember that weird face thing that was, what was that called? Momo or something? What was that thing
Oh
called?
my God, yeah, the Momo thing. Yeah.
That real creepy thing. So I did a side by side, and I said Momo's is really what's her face, and I did a side by side and with one of her weird faces and next to the Momo thing, and it looks like looks like the truth. She's the Momo.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I know we've talked about a lot of stuff. The last thing I was just going to bring up with y'all is I really hope that we can, when we get past this stuff going on this year, that we can maybe get a trip up your way, or you guys get a trip down this way, because somewhere, somehow, I hope that we can definitely collaborate together and do something. That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
I hope we can plan on it.
What about Trans-Allegheny?
What?
Al says, what about Trans-Allegheny?
Yes, let's do it.
Anthony
I'm
Sabrina,
so
what do you
in.
guys think?
I am in.
Trans-Allegheny? Trans-Allegheny?
Yes.
Well, let's try to plan it seriously. I mean, we keep threatening to do it.
No,
Let's
yeah.
really, when all this passes, let's get together and plan something, because I think it'd be great to get back together with everybody and do an investigation somewhere.
So Terry, I had one more thing I wanted you to talk about, and it has nothing to do with the paranormal, but I think it's pretty cool. It's something you do every morning on Facebook.
The flag.
Tell us about that a little bit. How that come about? Because I think it's very patriotic.
So I've been I am very patriotic, very, very. I have huge support for our military and our police, and my father was a police officer. My brothers are cops. And it was around the time that, you know, all this, I think it's been now a solid 2 years that I've been every day. I don't miss a day. Every morning I put a flag up. Good morning, America. Just in memory of all of our fallen officers, in memory of all of our troops and military that have died for us, you know, and because, you know, I'm not going political, but you know, the leadership prior to the leadership we have now was not very American. In my opinion, he was not for America, and so for me, that was just my way of, you know, making sure everybody, you know, still respected the flag, you know, because and what it stands for, you know, and that's why I do it. I just, you know, don't want anybody to forget what those stars and stripes stand for. So,
well,
so
I
that's
don't think, you know, there's people out there that hate Trump, there's people out there that love Trump. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. You know, I'm not huge, but I think he's doing a pretty good job. But he is probably the most patriotic president I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I do.
Sure.
It impressed me. Like I literally was scared when he was nominated. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, what the hell is gonna happen? You know,
I think everybody had a whoa, what just happened moment. Yeah.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Being how patriotic I am, I guess you will know why I was not in favor of Hillary Clinton, because of what she did to our troops and what, you know, how, you know, with our, I mean, she's an ugly person inside and out. Not, you know, just, you know, she has no respect for our military, no respect for, which is what, you know, Obama is the same. I mean, he was so anti-America. It was sickening to me. But anyway, Trump, yes. Trump is, he is in support of our first responders, our military, our police, America, and us as a country. You know, he wants to see us strive. And that I love that about him. I love how patriotic he is.
And we know that you love the vice president.
Yes, I do. The quarantine has gotten to my brain, I keep saying, because, you know, it was like, you know, I'm like, here we are a month in, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, why do I think he's hot? You know, and it's literally, I have no idea. And it's not going away. So it's like,
are you carrying I think when somebody made a comment earlier that you're carrying a picture around. So have you reached that point? Like, we reached the obsession level? I mean, is the Secret Service going to watch this and come talk to you or what?
Yeah, I'm serious. I really think, like, there's my girlfriend private messaged me and said that you can actually buy an I love Mike Pence pin. I'm like, stop. Like, I got like, I was like, really? I was like, whoa. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm excited about that.
But it is really cool that you do the flag thing every day. I see that on Facebook all the time. I think that's pretty awesome. I think more people should do that. Not to get on political stuff, because I really try to avoid that topic, not just on these kind of things, just in general, because you never know where people stand. But and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'm a firm believer of that. That's what makes our country what it is. But that's what bothered me so much about when the NFL, when they were nailing and stuff for the anthem. I don't care what your political views are. People have died for us to have the rights to do those things. And it just really, I really like it when I see people do like you're doing. And I think that's that's something you should be really proud of.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons, because I noticed what happened was when all that stuff started happening, I noticed I started seeing more and more flags outside of people's houses and outside of, so I was like, I said, wow, I said, it's crazy how, like it was like around the time where people were like protesting the NFL because people were kneeling and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you could see it in the neighborhoods. People were putting more flags up, and I just started taking pictures. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna, I stand for the flag. Kneel for the cross. I believe in that. You know what I mean? So, if people are allowed to voice their opinions, I'm going to voice mine. And so yes, that was one of the things that actually inspired me to start doing it, was when all that was going on.
It's definitely very cool. I look for them every morning. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
What's crazy is, there's a lot of people that, I have the same people every day that'll like it, and say good morning and stuff like that. But then I get this, it's awesome to me. And it makes me feel, it's why I do it, makes me feel like it's worth it. But like people like you guys, like, you guys don't like it, you guys don't comment, but I always run into people all the time and they're like, I love that you do that Good Morning America thing. It's so awesome. And I'm like,
yeah, absolutely.
See, that's what I love. That's what I want.
And you know what? And regardless of all politics and stuff, if right now is a time that if we aren't coming together as a country and putting that garbage aside that divides us, there's something really wrong. I mean, there's a real crisis going on. People are really being affected. I mean, we know because we're on the front lines of it. And it's a real thing. Absolutely. And it's really affecting people's lives. And now on the economic side, it's affecting business owners. It's affecting industries. It's affecting everybody. And this is the time to really appreciate the freedoms that we have. Sorry, soapbox again, but
no, but it's true. It's so true. So,
but now you guys,
thanking me.
Well, you guys are a great group, and we've enjoyed having you on for sure. Guys need to go check out Paranormal Brew. What night are you guys on? Is it always the same time? Or does it move some? I usually I'm bad where we work shift work. I don't even know what day it is most of the time. I just show up on my shift days. And then when I get something on Facebook, I jump in there. So I don't even know what day today is, to tell you the truth.
Mostly it's Wednesdays. Sometimes we have to try to, because, it's hard to get everybody together schedule wise every week. It's been a little bit easier now since we're all quarantined and not doing anything, so schedules have been a little bit easier, but normally it's Wednesdays, but like I said, sometimes it might be a Tuesday. We try to keep it up. We try to keep it on the same day mostly, but we'll put something up when we're going to go on.
Yeah, and ours depends on what night me and Matt work. Our schedule rotates, so we start on Fridays, and then we get Fridays when we're working, so we had to move it to Thursdays.
Yeah. And we do try to share your guys' stuff up all the time, wherever chance we get. We try to share you guys. Oh, that was weird. Oh yeah, that was cool. It's a camera switch.
Did a little flip flop.
Yeah, but no, we do try to share you guys' stuff. But so everybody out there, please make sure you guys give Paranormal Brew a follow. They're a great group. They're a great show. We've had the pleasure of being on there a few times, and we love watching the shows. Like I said, we do try to share that content, and that's what I think. The last thing I was going to say is just, I think that's something that we need to do more of in the paranormal community. Is exactly what we're doing right now. Yeah. Sitting down, having discussions, comparing experiences, and I'm not talking about the thrill moments. I mean real experiences and giving to each other, because that's the only way we're ever going to be mainstream, right? That's the only way we're ever going to really be what we want to be, is when we call out the fakes and we collaborate with the people that are serious and legitimate in what we do. So I appreciate that. Yes. Put egos aside and focus on sharing.
Yeah. And I love that you guys are doing a weekly show now. I think it's awesome. Like, I love it. So, I think it's great. And, I jump on your stuff as much as I can. You know that, especially when you guys
Absolutely.
are investigating and, so I'm always jumping on there and saying what's up and wishing I was there with you guys while you guys are investigating somewhere.
And we're going to try to get better about really going live. We try to do it when we have signal, but sometimes we forget. You're great about that whenever you're out, and you're really, we need to get better about making sure Christine is usually our go live person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you guys were kind of a little inspiration for us to kind of do this.
Absolutely. Do this live show. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome you guys are doing it. I love it. One other thing you got to share from Wildwood, if you can do it, clip it when we all heard the moan. Somebody's got to have that.
Yeah, I have found it. Al said he might have it. So
Yeah, I may have it.
We'll send you a Dropbox so we can give it to you.
That was we all heard that. That was right in front of us.
And we actually captured something on the SLS camera too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at the
Which
same
that's another one
time,
that
right?
piece of equipment you gotta be careful with, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. That moan was awesome because that was a disembodied voice. We all heard it. Like it wasn't like we heard it on the recorder.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't. Did you guys have the EVP of it though? Did you guys catch it on the audio side? I think we probably have it on a camera somewhere, but I haven't found it on my stuff. Al's going to check this and see if he's got it. Because we were actually.
I'm going to look on my laptop. I know I have it. I'll share. I'll try to find it and share it with you guys.
I think we were actually live because people watching it heard it too.
That's right.
Yes.
People
live heard it. Yeah.
Would you like us to share that full clip of your tub experience? I've got that. If you want it, I'll drop it and you can download it. If you want it. I don't know if you do or not, but you can see
it. No, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for being on. Anything anybody want to say before we get ready to get off?
No.
I love you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us on.
And thank you. Thank you. And on our show whenever you guys want, even if we're live and we're just like talking about nothing, pop on in and say hello. And if you guys are at work and just chilling and hanging out, come on.
We sure will. Well, thank you.
We look forward to meeting Anthony and Sabrina in person.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Hopefully we get to see you soon in person.
Yes, can't wait till we get out in the field together. Well,
yes,
guys,
definitely.
Thanks for being on. We appreciate you guys that tuned in and stayed with us. I got to get better about keeping up with comments, so I will get better about that. But this is only our third attempt at this, so it will get better. The audio kind of threw me for a loop when I first started out, but we'll get there. I'm going to go ahead and hit our outro, and then we'll be off. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And Paranormal Brew, thank you for being here tonight. You guys
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
Well, thank you guys again.
Thank you.